comfortable. Right, we'll start lying down because it's, I don't know, just feels like the right thing to do. So you settle yourself in, just as usual, make sure you have all of the sort of kit that you might use in a practice. It doesn't have to be right next to you because that's a pain, but you know, just be prepared to grab it if you need it. Get comfortable. We're not going to stay still for ages, but we might be lying down for a while. You can always have a cushion under your head if you like a cushion under your head. And I don't mind what position you lie in, as long as you feel comfortable and your hips are relaxed and your backs of your shoulders are relaxed and feeling very open. So actually, to figure out whether that's happening, the best thing to do is to assess the front of your hips and your belly. So if you have a little wiggle from sort of side to side, you start to sort of feel the front of your body spread out a little wider. And that generally means that your hips are nicely relaxed. If you've got your knees bent, it can mean having a shallower bend or maybe a wider stance between the knees. If you've got your legs stretched out, it means you need to have space between your feet and then allow the feet to relax so that they flop out to the sides. Upper body wise, the backs of the shoulders, I find I usually need to sort of pick up my shoulders a little bit and then lower them back down and then shuffle my arms around a little bit until they start to feel very rested. So the arms can go as far as you need them to go until you start to feel that sense of your shoulder blades sort of quite broadly softening down and the chest feels really broad from armpit to armpit. And then set your lower back to as neutral a position as is comfortable for you, which is not flat but arched. Check the back of the neck feels long, which sometimes means lifting the head a little bit, drawing the chin slightly upwards, and then lowering the head back down. And let's just relax the face and relax the body. If you've done all of those little things, your body should feel very, very well, almost cradled by the ground. And you start to deepen the breath. Have some of those lovely beginning of the yoga class breaths. There's nothing to do. You don't need to pay attention to anything. No one's going to distract you. We're just checking in. So if you're managing to allow your body to really relax and soften and be supported by the ground, then it's possible that there may be sort of parts of the body that have some sensation, not because you're using them, but just because there's some sensation there. And so you can sort of draw your attention towards those sensations. Doesn't matter where they are, it will be different for everyone. And just be with the sensation for a moment, just sort of just experience the feeling. So for example, my thighs, quads, are a little bit tingly in that way that body parts can be when they're very relaxed. So I can feel that blood circulation. And so that's a nice sensation. And as I notice it there, that slight tingle, you often feel it in your hands when you're resting. It starts to expand. So you can just explore. It doesn't have to be a tingle, it can be anything. Maybe it's that your toes are a little bit chilly, or maybe it's that the backs of your hips are pressing into the ground, or I can quite often feel quite hard muscles in my upper back. So just notice any sensation and experience it, just be in it. When you're ready, you can start to bring your focus towards your deep breaths. They will be probably natural deep breaths, or if you're one of those people whose breaths turn deep and diaphragmatic the minute you arrive at your mat, they might be extremely deep breaths. And can we draw the focus to the sound of the breath in your own head? If you're breathing, especially through the nose, that sort of little slight constriction at the back of the throat, that means that you can sort of hear that whispering sensation of the breath in your head. Just connect with that. So the breaths are deep, but they're not heavy. Somewhat controlled, even and smooth. And remaining quite intentional with the sort of evenness and the smoothness of the breath, and just allowing it to even and smooth if it feels ragged. Start to draw your attention towards your lower abdomen, just below the rib cage, and any movement that may be there. If you want to, you can start to work with the breath so that there's a lift in the lower abdomen as you breathe in, and a sort of a sweeping down towards the ground and then up towards the rib cage with the out breath. It's optional. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. So breathing in, feeling there's sort of an expansion below the rib cage. You can sort of feel that it's an oval shape, isn't it, from the pelvis up to the center of the rib cage. And then as you breathe out, focusing on the navel, as the whole of that area of the body feels like it's hollowing down towards the ground and up towards the rib cage. It's not about becoming tiny, it's about the movement of the muscles. So the smart money is keeping your attention inside the body rather than focusing too much on the outside of the body. You're experienced enough to be aware of that. So sort of notice the sensation. I mean, it's Sunday evening. If you're me, you're hungry at this point. So I've got my focus is actually sort of around that slight rumble in the belly and the muscles that wrap around those organs that are quite lively because dinner time in a few hours. So just noticing those inner muscles. I don't really, I'm not that bothered about what the outer layer is up to. One more time. Of course, you can be breathing naturally all this time if that suits you better. And the next time you inhale, stretch out. If you've got your knees bent, stretch your legs out and point the toes up, take the arms overhead, spread the fingers wide, maybe wiggle the toes around if it doesn't give you cramp, stretch out the whole of the body. And on your next exhale, keeping sort of a feeling of stretch in your trunk, take the hands down by the sides, keep the fingers nice and spread and engaged, point the toes away. So just some breath synchronized movement, but you can stay switched on if you want for energy. As you inhale, point the toes up, take the arms overhead, spread the fingers wide, stretch through the front of the body. As you exhale, point the toes away, bring the hands down by the sides. So if you start to feel energy building, this is a nice way to just see if you can bring a little lift. If you're feeling still tired and your energy is sort of ebbing, then go for the more meditative breath synchronized movements. So how much you stretch, how deeply you move, how much your muscles are pulling towards the spine or sort of engaging is entirely up to you for this. Make it work for you. One more time, take the arms overhead, point the toes up, and exhale to bring them down. We'll bring legs in for those who want it. So next time you inhale, just bring the knees in towards the chest, arms go up and overhead. As you exhale, legs up towards the ceiling, heels point up, toes back, hands down by the sides. Don't panic too much about the pattern if it's all gone squiffy. As you inhale, knees to chest, point the toes away, arms overhead. Exhale, arms down, legs up. I like to point the toes back because you use your legs differently when you flex and extend your feet. Just keep moving with the breath. I don't mind, as long as you're not straining anything. I don't mind too much about the pattern being perfect or accurate. Just get a good sense of movement. Lovely. One more round, and we are going to end on an exhale with the hands down by the sides and the legs up towards the ceiling. And depending on your energy, again, you can put your left foot down on the floor. We'll do some leg lifts. If you're feeling sort of spicy enough, you can keep both legs up. So it's your choice. It's as you exhale, belly pulls in and right leg lowers down. If both legs are in the air, then you're going to alternate. If your left foot is down on the floor, then you're just going to do your right leg 3 times. So we're just going to do 3 on each side. You can either alternate, or you can do 3 on the right and then 3 on the left, always lowering on the exhale. Again, don't stress too much. And if this is more energy than you're after, then you can carry on with your breath synchronized movements. I'm not going super slowly, but I'm keeping control. This is my last set. If you've still got a few to go, or one more to go, it's unlikely, please carry on. When you are finished, we're going to bring the knees in towards the chest and have a hug and a roll. So I'm just keeping an eye out. Take your time. There's never any need to rush. You just want to build up a little bit of awareness in the abdomen, a little bit of life. Have your hug and a roll. When you've had enough of it, take your hands around the shin of your right leg and either put your left foot down on the floor or stretch it away from your body with the toes pointing up. Let's have both sets of toes pointing back towards the shins. Squeeze your right leg in and then towards your armpit. So your hip's getting a good stretch. So if your hip is feeling really super tight, uncomfortable, then just loosen this up and put your hand behind your thigh. But if you like a good tight squeeze of your hip, you can really hug that in quite tightly. Armpit is the way to get a really good hip opening compression, and also you don't have to worry about having space then. So I prefer a froggy leg to in towards the chest leg for the most part. From here, take your right hand out to the side, palm down. Use your left hand to guide your right knee all the way over to the left. So let your body roll to the left. And if that doesn't feel good, you just go as far as you want. We're not going to stay here for very long. Sometimes it can be a bit compressive around the belly. And if that doesn't feel nice, can you wiggle your foot down a bit so that your thigh isn't squashing your belly up? Sometimes it doesn't feel nice. You just got to find a position for your leg that feels okay. Keep breathing. I'm not a huge fan of the half belly twist. It's very effective, but I don't want to stay here for too long. So when you are ready, on an inhale, we'll bring the leg back up to center. Right knee stays in, left leg is going to bend. We're going for figure of 4. So right ankle across left thigh. Scooch that left thigh in and then lengthen up the left leg. Point the toes back. Just be comfortable here. Bring the leg as far in as you need to get a bit of a stretch in your right hip. Let's start to flex and extend the left toes. If you prefer to just focus on one thing at a time, then please feel free to just go for figure of 4. Flex and extend. Start to turn circles if your ankle's all right with that. Few one way, few the other way. And I really encourage you to move away from being too floppy and loose with these movements unless you're super, super tight, because it's not enormously useful. Ultimately, you need to find a version of sensation that feels like something is happening. So if you prefer a little bit of stillness, you can take a few breaths just still. Okay. And then when you're ready, left foot comes down to the ground. And let's just switch sides. So right foot comes down to the ground as well. Left knee tucks in. Weave your hand around the front or the back, back of the thigh or front of the shin. Lengthen out the right leg if that works for you, and start to squeeze your left knee towards the armpit or the chest if that's preferable. Point both sets of toes back, so it's pretty switched on. You can relax the feet if you want, and you can also keep your right foot flat on the floor, the knee bent if you wish. Have a good squeeze. Maybe just eyes can be closed and you can focus on your sensation as you breathe into these movements. As I say, it's a stretchy class. Doesn't matter if something gets missed or whatever, just stay pretty light with it all. When you are ready, you can start to go into your half belly twist again. So left arm goes out to the side and you take your left leg over to the right, let your body roll to the right. And then if this feels if you get that weird belly compressy feeling, if it doesn't feel good, then you can take your left knee down a little way. It just depends. I usually have to wiggle into this bit. Just for one more breath. Tensional breaths. And when you're ready, we'll come back to center. And let's bend the right leg, left ankle across right thigh. Figure of 4. Scooch up that right leg, stretch it up, have your ankle movements. All of this at your own pace, of course. You know all of these things. But just try and make the movements intentional. I know it's an overused word, but sometimes the most valuable movements are the ones that you throw away. And you shouldn't be throwing away anything too much in a class. So moving in and out of postures with a sense of intention, keeping some muscles switched on. The best strength and mobility is built through ambient movements. So try not to fling too much. Lovely. Okay. We'll take the right foot down, left foot down into knees together. So classic Indian twist, feet together, knees together, arms out wide. You can have your palms up or down, whatever suits you. And on an exhale, allow both sets of knees to lower down to the right. If you, you must adjust your twist for comfort, but if you do like that deeper twist with the legs stretched out, you can lengthen both sets of legs out to the right, turn your head to the left if you want to. So essentially just make it into a twist that feels good, and it should feel good in your hip and in your waist, hips and waist. Spine is getting a deep twist, shoulders should be on the ground or on their way there. No catching of the breath. And you shouldn't be feeling too much like all of your muscles are stopping you from rolling onto your side. So just keep arranging your twist until it feels all right. 2 more breaths. Big belly breaths. If you've stretched out your legs, rebend them when you're ready to come back. And then lift the knees back to center, feet on the floor. And then lower over to the other side. And just make all of the usual assessments on both sides, always. Check it's comfortable, shoulders down. Extend the legs if you wish to. Turn your head right if you wish to. Just feel nice in your twist. Waist, spine, hips, shoulders, chest. It's a lot of stuff. You got your legs stretched out, a little bit of stretch for the legs as well. Okay. You stretch your legs, rebend them, bring them back to center. And we're going to make our way to all fours. Yeah, we're going to come to all fours. So if you want to, you can cross your ankles, roll back, and roll forward to seated, and then just roll over your ankles and shuffle your way into all fours. Otherwise, you can just go any way that suits you. The transitions are nice. The little transitions feel good if you want to play with them on the days that you feel like playing with them. Also, that little roly-poly that we sometimes do, if you enjoy doing that, then it's worth kind of playing with slowing it down, because that's a nice way of getting a little control and strength into your spine, your back, your belly. So come to all fours. We're going to do a cat-cow, of course, and make it as bendy as you want. So bring a little movement into your elbows. Inhaling into your cow pose, you can soften your elbows back and really lift your tailbone quite a lot. Chest opens up, goes forward. Exhale to lengthen up the arms and round through the spine. And if you want to sit back, actually, let's just start by going for traditional cat-cow with softness in the elbow in cow pose. So when you're in your back bend, elbows draw back. As you exhale, really lengthen up through the arms, bow the head, stretch out through the shoulder blades. If this is feeling bad on your joints today, do it seated. Any seated cat-cow is good. But for this particular stretch in cat pose with spine high, the boat pose position is the best one. Just really stretch through the front of the body when you're in cow, and stretch through the back of the body when you're in cat. One more round. And let's come back to center and to neutral, and we'll have a count of 3 in tiger balance. So left leg back, right arm forward, both hips square as you can get them. So the toes are pointing down. You can keep your hand and foot down if you want. Pull your belly up. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Just put yourself in it, you know, left arm forward, right foot back, toes pointing down, nice and long through the spine, belly pulling up. 3, 2, 1. Lower down. Side to side cat-cow. So on an exhale, right shoulder and right hip squeeze together. You can look back at your feet. Inhale to center. Exhale, squeeze, left hip, left shoulder. Look back at your feet. Make it really as bendy a movement as you can. You can always put some padding under your shins so that your knees aren't pressing into the ground. If the tops of your feet are in any way causing you trouble, then you can tuck your toes. You can also I sometimes keep my feet a little bit off the ground actually, because they don't quite comfortably stay on there. So sometimes my feet are not even in contact with the ground when I'm doing all fours work. Okay, so we're going to do some of our sideways tiger balances. So come back to center. I'm not sure if you've done these, Charlotte, so you might end up having to have a look. Left foot goes back, right arm goes forward. Let's have a count of 3, 2, 1. Bring your right hand down and take your left leg over to the right. And then twist your body around and look at your right foot. Quite a deep side stretch. If it doesn't suit you, a little wide leg child's pose is fine. Really allow your body to curve. Spine curves round. Lovely. Come back to center. Back to spinal balance. So right arm comes forward, left foot goes back again for another count of 3. This is why the counts are short. 2 and 1. Come back to center, take a breath if you need to, or just go straight over to the other side. Right leg back, left arm forward for 3, 2, 1. Left hand comes back down, right foot goes behind you all the way across the left, and then turn your upper body around and look at your toes. As I say, this is why we take our time to do the nails. Nice deep bend in the side body. Breathe. Lovely. Come back to spinal balance. Right leg back, left arm forward for 3, 2, 1. Fair bit of work. Come back to tabletop. We'll have thread the needle static. So the right arm goes up towards the ceiling, open into your twist. As you exhale, sweep the right hand underneath the left arm, right ear or cheek or side of the head comes to the ground. Keep your bum in the air if you want to stay more active, but if you want to rest, you can sit your bum back in child's pose. Otherwise, just have a few breaths. For those of you who are feeling fairly limber, if you want to take the additional bind, you can take your left arm up, palm facing back, wrap it around your waist and rotate your chest to the left, gazing up towards the ceiling. So that's your deeper variation. And you can always have a peek at the screen if you don't know what I'm on about. Some days you do just feel limber, especially when the weather starts to warm. Be comfortable. We'll have 3 more breaths, so probably will have been at least 6, maybe 7 breaths in this posture. Last deep breath. And 2 come out. Do open your twist. So left hand comes to the floor if you've found it. Open up, right arm in the air, and then come back to center. And then go the other way. Left arm comes up, open up at your own pace. You don't have to follow my pace. Exhale to take the left arm underneath the right. Settle yourself in the way that feels good. And if you feel like you might like bind on one side, but not the other, give it a try. See how it feels. So that sometimes taking the right arm around the back of the waist, rotating the chest to the right. If you're going for the bind, thread the needle. So as you rest in your thread the needle, of course, this is quite, I think most of you, from the ones I can see, it looks like most of you have gone for bum in the air because it's nice to be upside down sometimes. The smart money in thread the needle is figuring out how much weight you want to put into your shoulders, how much pressure you want to put on your upper arm. And generally, the higher in the air your bum is, the more pressure you're going to put down onto that left shoulder. 2 more breaths. Really nice. Okay, unbind if you're bound. Right hand to the floor, open the twist, slowly, carefully, all the way up. Exhale, hands down. And you might need to shuffle back on your mat. Just walk your hands forward. 2 handprints worth, 2 handprints worth. And then elbows tuck in towards the rib cage as you lower your upper body down to the ground. Hands are under the shoulders. If you're not keen, you can sort of hang out in Sphinx, will do. But I was thinking 3 little cobras. So hands are under the shoulders. As you inhale, just come into a little lift. Elbows generally in. It doesn't matter if they come out a little bit, but for them, they're not pointing right out to the sides. And then exhale them. It can be tiny movements. Inhale to lift. Can you press a little bit of effort into your hands, please? Exhale down. So try not to let it be all effort in your back. Use your hands to lift your body, chest forward. Option for 3 more at your own pace, or you can just chill with your head down if you've had enough. But try to press into your hands. Gently, it doesn't have to be hardcore. Last one. If you're coming up, open up. And then exhale to lower down. The hands can come underneath your head, stacked. In fist or flat, whatever suits you. And then just pause. You can take your legs as wide as you want. And if you are feeling any deep intensity in your lower back, you can just rock your hips from side to side a bit. Just take a moment, because 6 mini cobras can be fairly intense unless you're already feeling quite limber. So just take a moment, and I've got cramp in my toes, so I'm going to stretch my toes out. Nice. So let's, while we're here, keep your head down on the floor. Bring the legs together. We'll do some of our lower back strengtheners. You can just do them at whatever level of intensity you want. I mean, it's only so intense you can actually get with these. So you press the legs together, really clamp them, point the toes away, pull the belly softly up, like you're trying to slightly lighten the feeling of the belly on the floor, and just clench your bum and your pelvic floor pulls up a little bit. Just pulse for 6. As you exhale, lift your legs a little bit, like you're pulling your toes away, and inhale to put them down. So just small movements, not huge long breaths. And all of the effort really is your lower back as you lift and lower those legs for about 6. I mean, I've already done 4 while I've been chatting here. So that's my last one. And when you finish, you can just release. So if those little lower back leg pulses are really good for you, you can do another set of those. If you want to intensify those, instead you can hold. So you bring your hands down by your side, forehead on the floor, palms are down. And this time, draw your shoulders back and down. As you exhale, lift both arms slightly off the floor and both legs. And it's like you're trying to reach your heels with your fingers, heads off the floor, chests off the floor. And I'll count down for another 3, 2, 1. Rest if you need to. If you're still feeling quite strong, you can take your arms forward and then exhale to bring your elbows in towards your waist for 3. Inhale forward, exhale, elbows in, 2. You can lower your legs if you need to. Exhale, 1. Have a little rest. Relax everything. Let the heels flop out. Head rest on hands. And have some deep breaths. Just a little bit of work for the back. A little bit of work for the front, and a little bit of work for the back. And this is all recorded, so if we've sort of flown through everything, we'll always go back and have a look. These are movements that will come back in over the weeks, so there's no desperate rush to get everything spot on. Lovely. So since we're here, let's do some quads. You can keep your head down if you want to stay more restful, or you can come up onto your forearms and have your little sphinx first. So if you're coming up to do your quads in a back bend, then onto your elbows. Nice and tall. Take your left fingertips towards your right elbow, scoop up your right foot, pull it in towards your bum, and if you can't reach, please use your strap. First priority, as always in this posture, is to get a good quad stretch, and if you can't get it here, please roll onto your side, stand up, use your strap wrapped around your foot, and then take the strap over your shoulder like you're carrying a sack over your shoulder, and pull your foot in that way. Quad stretch. I actually find it a little bit tricky to get any sensation with quads here. So if you prefer to do it in a lunge, you can do that as well. Lovely. When you're ready, switch sides. Doesn't need to be any special fanfare, just switch sides. And on your second side, can you get a sense after everything that we've done with the thread the needle and the back bends and the all of that cat-cow work, get a sense of how are you feeling? Is the body feeling fairly limber? Are you feeling fairly well stretched? What the energy level's like? Because if you are feeling pretty good, then you can have a go at a bow, but this is just going to be an option. So if your legs and your hips and your quads are feeling okay, you can have a go at bow. If your legs and your hips and your quads are feeling tight, you're going to go for seal. So there's 2 options and you can switch. So if you change your mind, you can always have a go. If your left foot is feeling all right, pulled in towards your bum, you can try keeping your chest lifted if it's not down on the floor. Gaze forward and pull your right foot in as well. So your chest will soften down a little bit. So if you're going for bow, both of your feet are now pulling in towards your bum. And as you exhale, you can start to push the tops of the feet into your hands and the chest comes forward, shoulder blades squeeze together. That's your bow pose. If this is feeling terrible, come up into a back bend of your choice, which can be seal or sphinx. And in fact, if you're in bow, you can now put yourself into that back bend of your choice anyway. So sphinx is forearms on the floor, chest forward and lifted. Seal is arms out wide and long, legs wide and long. Actually, a normal back bend is a nice way to finish off bow pose. And I did see 1 or 2 people have a go at that and it looked good. So stay nice in your back bend. 1 more breath here. You can come down whenever you're ready. And then elbows bend as you lower down with control, forehead to the floor, hands come under the shoulders, tuck the toes. Keep the knees down as you lift your upper body and walk your hands back into active child's pose. So the knees can be separated as wide as you want. I'm keeping them parallel though. And then I'm just going to sit my bum right back towards my tucked toes, heels lifted, stretch my arms forward, forehead still on the floor, and a good stretch to the arms. And I'm stretching out my back without rounding it too much. And that's what I want. So I just want to keep that little bit of a ease the way out of some actually quite deep back bending. Certainly if you did your quad stretches with your chest lifted, then you've done quite a lot of back bending. So here in active child's pose, just take another breather. You can untuck your feet if you would prefer to. Lovely stuff. And so if you are feeling all right to do it, you can start to walk, lift your head, start to walk your hands back in and back into your little squat. So no, it's a crouch. My heels are lifted here, so it's not the usual kind of squat. If you're able to do this, we're just coming towards a soft forward fold. So if you're not able to do this, that's where we're going. So just start see if you can get your hands flat to the floor just in front of you, and just see how far you can lengthen up your legs and bring your heels on the floor before your hands lift. It's fine for your hands to lift, but just see where you can get to. We're just coming into a soft forward fold here. Knees are soft. Doesn't matter if your hands are down on the floor or not. Start to pedal your legs out. Relax your neck. You can roll circles with your head, pedal the legs, have a wiggle of the shoulders. We're just being upside down. Little wiggle, and we will come to a halfway lift. So hands to the shins, nice and long in the spine, gazing back at the ankles. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale to soften into a slightly deeper forward fold if it's available. We're hinging from the hips. You can always keep the knees soft. Hands don't need to be at the ground at all. They probably are, I know, but they don't have to be. And when you're ready, soften the knees, press the chest forward and inhale to reach all the way up to the ceiling. Come up slowly because you might have a head rush. You've been upside down for a while. Hands up. And then exhale, cactus, elbows towards the waist, fingers wide. Squeeze the shoulder blades, gaze forward. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, softly float your way all the way back down. Soft forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Just flowing now. Exhale, float your way back down, and optional if you want to, walk your hands forward into a downward facing dog. Pedal out the legs. So with these little flowing movements, I'm happy for people to make them work the way you need to. So if walking your hands forward to downward facing dog isn't going to work, you can come through the normal way, lower the knees down. Stepping back instead of walking forward. So just pedal the legs. Couple more breaths. So if you're tired, we're going to come back to a soft forward fold. So from downward facing dog, if you can, bend the knees and start to walk your hands back. You can walk your feet forward if that's better for you until you're back in your soft forward fold. This time, keep your knees bent, keep your bum back. And as you inhale, sweep your arms forward. So you're sitting into a soft chair pose, squeeze your bum inwards, gaze forward, shoulders down, and then inhale to reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, elbows in, cactus, chest lifted, go softly. And then inhale, take the arms up. One more time. Exhale, soft forward fold. Really chill. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, standing forward fold. Bend the knees if you need to, and if you'd like to, walk your hands forward, downward facing dog. You can always fidget here, or you can find stillness. Just have another breath or two. Soften the knees, lift the heels if you need to. Walk your hands back if you can. A little bit of strength for the upper body when you do this. Bring the heels back down. One more chair pose, optional. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, gaze forward, sit back. So weight is back in the heels. You can see your feet. Knees are stable. And then inhale, reach up, circle up. Lovely stuff. Exhale, hands to heart. You can stay exactly where you are. We'll just do some more spine bending. So inhale, arms go up tall. Exhale, right hand comes to right leg. Left arm goes over. So bending to the right. Try and keep your hips reasonably stable. Try not to swing too much. A little bit of swing that feels good is fine. Inhale, back up, both arms up. Exhale, other side. Keep breathing all the way through. Inhale up. Exhale to the right. Just work with the breath now. Inhale to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right. Last set. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Very nice. Inhale up. We'll take our vertical twist as usual. Left arm forward, right arm back. Keep the hips forward to the best of your ability. Turn your chest to the right. Let's not hoik the neck all the way back unless your neck is very limber. Turn your head to the right, and then if there's space, maybe you can turn it a little bit more, but don't worry too much. Try and keep the hips as far forward as you can. It doesn't have to be right angles in this posture. It's just a twist. When you're ready, inhale to center, and then exhale other way. Right arm forward, left arm back. Okay. Inhale up. And let's exhale, forward fold. We're just making our way back down to the ground. Soft forward fold. We have two options. You can either go through that same process back to downward facing dog and then bring your knees to the ground. We're coming to seated, so you have options to come to seated. If your hips are okay, you can wiggle your feet out wider and come into a deep squat. Sit your bum right down towards the ground. hands to the floor and sit down. So we're just making our way to seated, and how you make your way to seated, I don't mind. I just, any opportunity to do some squats is a good thing. Okay, so let's come to a cross-legged position. I suggest left foot inside, right foot in front, have a cushion underneath you if you need it, and you can do, you can do all of your work in any any seated position really, cross legs if you can. So I'm just going to put a cushion under my hips for this. So let's sit tall, we'll work through our seated flow. Inhale, take the arms up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, bring the arms forward, hinge from the hips. So you can take the arms as far forward as they want to go, but keep the hips down and hinge your spine forward. So it doesn't matter to me how far down you go, but start with really good alignment. Long spine, hips back, deep stretch into those hips. And then once you've gone as far as you can with a long spine, then you can curl over, round, and let your head sort of relax completely. Take a moment with your shoulders and notice how your shoulders are feeling. If they're feeling kind of tight and crunchy in a gross way, you can try stretching your arms out in front of you, bringing your left hand to center and taking your right hand over the top. If that feels bad, then don't bother. But sometimes this little crisscross can work very well, similarly to thread the needle, stretching out the shoulders. And if you've gone for this little cross, if you can feel anything in your shoulders, you can switch sides. So you bring the right hand to center, take the left hand over the top, all the way across. I just like let my head dangle in between my arms when I do this. I have got really quite bendy, but strong sensation, like my shoulders do get knotted up. So I can feel a lot, but not everybody can feel anything in this posture. Lovely. If you cross your hands, stretch them out again, start to carefully walk the hands back in. Take them behind you, fingertips to the floor with the fingertips pointing back. So rotate your elbows back. Chest lifts, shoulders drop down, neck feels really long, crown of the head is lifting, and maybe you're a little bit of a lift in the hips there as well. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale to soften down. Take your right leg out to the side. Right hand in line with right hip. Left arm goes up. And extend over into your side bend here. And hopefully this side bend should feel really quite satisfying because we've done so many. Point your right toes up. Keep your left knee pressing softly down towards the ground so we can really get into the hip here. If you can get that left knee to press down. If it's not happening, then you could just use your hand to press it down. One more breath. Release your left hand, and if you can, take hold of your right toes with your right hand. Pick up your right leg and cross it over your left. You don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. We're going into Lord of the Fishes. Sometimes it's just quite nice to pick up your leg and flop it over the top. Okay, nice and tall in this posture. Remember, you can have your left leg stretched out if you prefer. Left arm goes up. First, rotate your chest to the right. So before you do anything, rotate your chest to the right. Fingertips of the right hand are on the floor. And then you can either hug your leg or bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee and see if there's space for that. So either variation. And if you feel like this is way too compressive and it feels like shit, you can twist the other way and then your belly is completely free, and this can feel absolutely amazing. So it is worth experimenting. Whenever we do a twist and you feel like you want to move away from your body, you can twist the opposite way. Only turn your head over your shoulder if your neck allows you to do it without any compression. Breathe. Okay. one more breath and then we'll come back to center. Lovely. Inhale, back. Pause and switch legs. So flip them over. You can do it differently. As long as you're twisting in the opposite direction, you can stretch out the bottom leg if you wish to. It doesn't have to be the same on both sides. So stay tall to start with. Right arm goes up. Before doing anything, left hand behind you on the floor so the spine is tall. Rotate your chest to the left or the right if you're going the opposite way, and then position your arm either on the outside or around the leg. Turn your head if your neck allows it without compression. Breathe. Lord of the Fishes. Nice. And we will have another breath and then bring it back. So we come back to center. Pick up your left toes with your left hands, unravel into your half butterfly. So right foot's tucked in, left leg is extended, tall in the spine, toes are pointing up on that left leg, and left hand in line with left hip, side bend, right arm up, extend, over to the left, and really push, actively push your right leg down to get into that hip. And where you gaze is up to you in these postures, whatever feels good. Use your hand, left hand, to help you not collapse. So the idea is to push down on the right side and use your left hand to press into the ground so that you're really getting into the side. Nice. When you're ready, come back up. And let's bring that left foot in. So it's the opposite cross, which some of you will be the uncomfortable side and some of you will be the comfortable side. Tall through the spine, we'll start with the forward fold. And remember, keep the hips down, see if you can lengthen through the spine first. So shoulders back, walk the hands forward, lead with the chest. Just get to wherever you get to. If you're sitting on a cushion, you'll get a little bit further. And then once you're in, if you want to curl into a rounded yin variation, then you can. If you like sensation and intensity, then you probably just need to press into your hands and keep directing your hips back and your chest forward. And that's going to give you a much more intense sensation. As long as it's not pain, intensity is fine. So all of these sort of postures tend to have a yin and a yang variation. And the yin variation involves rounding the spine, just sort of turning inwards. The yang variation is where the fire is, the sensation. Don't forget to breathe. Okay. One more breath here, and then we're going for that little chest opener, which can be a back bend this time if you wish, your choice. So when you're ready, let's walk the hands in. Gently, fingertips behind you. Elbows drawing back, so the fingertips are rotating back. Thumbs are forward, chest lifts, shoulders drop, crown of the head lifts, and then if you've got room for the back bend, you can lift the hips as well and press the head back. It should be a back bend as opposed to a collapse. Shoulders squeeze together and then lower down. Really nice. So we'll stay. If this is the uncomfortable cross for you and it's feeling tight, then you can switch your legs around if you want. We're just going to do some circles. So you can rest, leave your hands resting on your knees. If this also feels bad, just being in crossed legs, you can do diamond instead. Soles of the feet together. Make sure you're feeling really tall, gentle engagement in the belly. So just a little bit of a pulling in, and then start to roll forward and roll back. Just breathe with this movement, just intuitive breathing. We are, think of that pestle and mortar. So the idea that you're using your upper body, rolling around in that mixing bowl, that is your hips, your basin of your hips, your pelvic basin. Leading with the chest. Think of cat-cow as well. This is a good variation, sort of a version of cat-cow, or what's it called? We haven't done it for ages. Churning the mill, or whatever it's called. When you're ready, go back the other way. So you could have your legs out wide if you like churning the mill. Okay. Do about 4 on the other side. So do about 4 on this side. Nice. Last one. Really nice. And then come back to center. Bring your feet forward, coming back onto our backs. And with control, so feet are forward, knees are hip distance apart, feet are flat on the floor. Just start to roll down with control, all the way down, ending with the head and the neck. And then once you're all the way down, bring your knees in. And rest the hands on the knees and gentle circles. So draw the knees out away from each other and then in towards each other. Just really softly go at the size and the pace that suits you. So sitting in cross legs for a while, it sort of releases the hips, but it also, you might have some feeling in the hips. So just let the body be quite free. Go back the other way. Okay. So put your left foot down on the ground. If you can, take hold of the outside of your right foot. Take the knee out to the side near the rib cage, and the sole of the foot is pointing up towards the ceiling. It's a half happy baby. If this doesn't work for you, then just one knee wide is fine in a frog's leg. So hand can be behind the thigh, around the outside of the right foot. Your hip, if you cast your mind back to the beginning of the class, just notice whether your hips feel better or worse or any different than they did at the beginning. I know there are some really, really mobile hips in this room, so it may be that you don't feel much. When you're ready, you can just switch sides. So put the right foot down, bring the left knee out to the outer rib cage. If you can, hold on to the outside of your left foot or at the thigh is fine. Half a happy baby or half a wide leg, knees to chest, a good squeeze. And then if you want to, you can have happy baby here. So you can bring the other one in, have both of the knees together, wrapping around the rib cage, or as wide as is comfortable for you. And hands can be around the feet or around the thighs or the shins or the ankles. And if your legs are feeling quite limber, you can try extending one leg out to the side and then the other. Just see, gives yourself a little bit of an inner thigh stretch. We did do that little shoelace, no, half butterfly posture. So hopefully a bit of something there for you. One more. If you want to try both legs, see if both legs will stretch out a little bit. You don't have to stretch them straight, just a little bit. And when you're ready, knees come back together, give them a hug, whatever kind of a hug feels good for you. Rock from side to side. And we will finish off kind of as we started, actually. So keep your knees in, take your arms down by your sides, palms down. And as you inhale, take the arms overhead, palms up, and lengthen the legs up, toes back. And as you exhale, float the arms down, bring the knees back towards the chest, point the toes. Just come back towards breath synchronized movement. We're just closing up the class with some soft movement here, so you can release, relax, just soft movements into the knees, the shoulders. Don't forget to point the toes. Inhale to lengthen the arms up, legs up. Exhale, knees to chest, arms float down. One more like this. Inhale, float everything up. Exhale, float the arms down, float the knees to chest, and then bring the feet to the floor. Take the arms out wide. Lower the knees over to the right. Turn the head to the left. Come into a twist of your choice at your comfort. Soften in. We'll stay here for a few breaths. You can lengthen the legs if you want. It's your choice of twist. So I've just gone for a classical Indian yogic twist. Relax into your waist, into your hips. Relax the thighs, relax the belly, relax the shoulders. And when you're ready, on an inhale, gently draw the knees back to center, feet in line with the hips again. Take the knees over to the left. Turn the head to the right if you wish. And once again, relax the thighs, relax the feet, relax the hips. Relax the waist, belly, chest, arms, shoulders. Let it go, let the body weight become heavy on the ground. And when you're ready, gently bring the knees back to center. And this time lengthen out legs away from you, lengthen the arms away, exactly as we started. We're just finishing off as we started. Toes point up, fingers spread wide, stretch out the front of the body. Good morning stretch, feels so nice. And if you wish to take a restful, sort of still Shavasana, you're welcome to bring this into a traditional hands down Shavasana. Otherwise, if you're ready to wrap up, if you feel that's done what you needed to do, you can bring your knees towards the chest for a rock and roll. So this is your choice now. You can either have some stillness and rest, and I will close the meeting and that's fine, or you can seal the practice with me. So it's one last rock and roll. And I'm just going to roll back and forth just a couple of times along the length of the spine before I come up to seated. I do like this little movement. And then I'll meet you in a seated position, any seat. So just sitting tall, comfortably, hands down by the sides, palms forward. And as you inhale, one big circle up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Feels good. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that.